I did want to, Ms. McDougall mentioned earlier the mental health conference that took place.
Wellness.
Or mental wellness. Thank you for the correction. And I did have some constituents that reached out to me with some concerns about some of the information that was presented during that conference. So I spoke with Dr. Mullins, wanted to make sure that we had looked at things closely. Dr. Mullins, do you mind just kind of giving us an update on that? I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page on it.
Sure. So last week, Brevard Public Schools hosted a virtual conference for mental health and wellness for employees to participate in and take advantage of a host of different speakers that were provided around the country. One of the concerns that was brought to attention was a presentation that included a explicit reference to critical race theory, it was presented in context of one of 10 stressors that impact students. And I'm not going to suggest I'm an expert in all of these areas, but the frame or the context of the presentation was looking at how students face adverse childhood experiences, otherwise referenced as ACE, particularly from a trauma-informed perspective, and equipping and helping our educators understand and be responsive to experiences that our kids have, hopefully not when they're with us, but what their environment is when they're not with us, but certainly become a part of who they are when they come to us in our schools. And the stressor that was particularly referenced was one titled Racism, Discrimination, and Inequity as a stressor that our students experience, and helping our educators understand what are some of the questions that they need to be asking and working with students. Things about what are identity-based stressors that the student is facing, what is the student's perspective as they talk with and support the student through whatever they may be bringing, what strengths do the students bring, and so on. So that was within that specific concern was referenced. When it came to me, I immediately met with staff and looked carefully at the materials to ensure that they were appropriate and aligned with our commitment for as long as I've been superintendent in supporting the individual needs and the experiences that our kids come to us with. And some of them are, quite frankly, tragic. Everything from food insecurities to homelessness to even more devastating circumstances and situations. So actually viewed this presentation and another one from another presenter around best practices for social justice in schools, and looked at the content and the context of the presentations and their appropriateness, and if in fact they aligned with the work that we've been committed to doing as a school district for some time now. So is that the reference that one of the speakers made about curriculum? Certainly, we always welcome parents to bring concerns about what is in our classrooms to the district's attention, and we will give equal attention and review and evaluation to any concerns that may be referenced. And we're certainly aware of and evaluating the recent state school board ruling coming to districts, coming to the state, and making sure that we are evaluating that thoroughly as well. So, Ms. Belford, did that cover what you were hoping for or interested in?
It did. Thank you. I think I think it's important to take things in context, right? So sometimes when we look at something, we make some assumptions about what it is without the context around it. I too had the opportunity to go and look at those two presentations, and I think we have not shied away as a board or as a district from having difficult, sometimes uncomfortable conversations about what we need to do to support our students to success. And I think this is that presentation was a great example of us understanding where our students are when they're coming to us and the lens with which they are engaging in their educational experience. And I think we've made a commitment that we're going to recognize those things. We're going to take the time to look at those things. And whether it's our African-American students, our Hispanic students, our English language learners, our special education students, those are the areas where we have very clearly identified through data, and I know the board is very aware of that data, that we have some gaps. And it was referenced as well in our accreditation, validating that we have work to do in those areas. So just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, since we can't talk outside of the public setting, in case you all had any concerns as well, or had anyone reach out to you. Just wanted to make